beat Bobby Stocker, who had just been in the final the previous year. This was kind of Greg's coming out party for outdoor racquetball. So that started his 27-year outdoor racquetball career. In singles, he had a nearly 20-year span of being in the quarterfinals or better at nationals. I don't know if that's been topped or met, but it's an incredible record. He did win the singles title in 1990, taking down one of our current announcers, Craig Clubber Lane, in the final. I'm sure Craig's glad I brought that up. His last competitive singles match came in 2006 at the age of 47 against who else but Rocky Carson, where he lost a tough battle, 15-14, 15-14. Those scores are approximate. Talking to Chris McDonald just a couple days ago, he told me that he might have been the one who helped Greg into retirement, but not in a good way. It was 2006, round of 16s. Jesus, you were there, you and I were playing together. We happened to be playing against Greg and Chris, and for whatever reason, Jesus and I decided to lob continually, not Greg, but Chris, the tennis player, where he proceeded to skip probably 15 balls in a row, much to Greg's chagrin. And that's what caused Greg to probably give up the sport that he loved. Also, he moved to Oregon at the time. In doubles, he and his partner Dan Southern won the title in 1994. He also teamed with Brian Hawks in 1991. And if you go on YouTube, you can see the match. You can see Greg Freeze with a mustache. All you have to do is search Greg Freeze, Brian Hawks, Florida, 1991. And you can determine for yourself if that qualifies as a mustache. Brandon, where are you? Yes? Okay, all right, Brandon said yes. After a tough loss in the 1996 Outdoor Nationals with Dan Southern, I somehow convinced Greg to partner up with me, and the first year we made it all the way to the men's finals, where we ran into Dave Genevieve and Rick Sandello. Some of you may remember that Dave got a bad injury midway through the match and was given way too much time to recover, in my opinion. And when they came back and proceeded to start the match again, I think Dave lob served me 3 in a row that I proceeded to skip. When he did the fourth one, I was playing the left, so it makes a little more sense, right, that they skipped. For whatever reason, Greg came over from the right side, intercepted the shot, hit a perfect pinch roll in the left corner and said, "That's how you do it." And I thought, wow, I've never seen Greg mad at me before, but that was one of the few times. There was one other time I don't have time to talk about. Or do I? Greg and I actually won one championship together. It was the 2001 California State Championship. That was a long time ago. He is also known for sniffing a ball to determine whether it was in or out. Greg, can you verify that? I mean, why the F were you sniffing the ball? How does that, anyway. And then he was famous for licking his finger and marking on the court to show you exactly whether the ball was in or out, whatever was most in his favor, I'm assuming. He was a tireless competitor and a great strategist, and he could literally beat you just by outthinking you. And finally, yes, there's an end to this, Greg and I teamed up for one other title that I debated even mentioning, but I have to say it because it was the only gold medal I have ever won in that other sport. But there's room for all sports, guys. Can't we all get along? So thank you for that, Greg. That's a great memory. I am proud to call him a one-time partner and a full-time friend. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Greg Freeze. Come on up, Greg.
Very different name for that. It was Metro in the day. Hey, I tell you, most of my memories out here were losing to Brian Hawks in different levels of the divisions. Semis, quarters, finals, didn't matter. Used to love my friends tell me, hey, I got some money on you in this tournament. This is going to be great. And I said, why would you do that? I've lost to him every single time. Why is it going to be different this time? And sure enough, I never beat him at anything. Except the other day, I was on the phone with him and he said, do you remember one time we were at this Echelon camp and we had this competition to dive for a ball and try to catch it before it bounced twice? That's the only time I ever beat Brian Hawks. And it's kind of sad, but that's my big victory. But we did have that one time together in Florida. There was one year when there was going to be 2 outdoor nationals. And so Brian and I said, let's go over to Florida and try to make it so there's just one. And quite an event, and it's a little different playing there. They Their courts were a little more uphill than we're used to. Here, these courts seem pretty flat. There, it seems like you were hitting uphill. And the cement here is nice and smooth, and the balls bounce normal. And out in Florida, they put holes in the cement, and the balls bounce all kinds of ways when they hit the ground. It's wild. But it's nice that over the years, the sport became more than just what we saw here in California. Players started to show up to the Nationals from other places where outdoor was played. I found out later in life people were playing in places like Michigan, where you'd think, boy, it's awfully cold in Michigan. How could they even have an outdoor sport there of racquetball? And they do. And some of these places put little quarter ceilings up there, and that was actually the fun part. Is we started our own tour, just people together. We said, let's go play all these different places. And we show up at Santa Ana College and Orange Coast College. And we went out into Buena Park and played, went into LA. And I started to realize I was basically a traveling gang member for this gang called Racquetball. And what was nice about the traveling gang is we played the games, and because they were there at the parks playing with their courts. And they were their courts, but the one thing that they did and respected was you were there to play ball, and they didn't care that it was about gang activity in their life most of the time. What they enjoyed was you got a good game of pickleball or handball if you had to. Sometimes you'd show up and they didn't want to play racquetball, and so you set your racket down and you go play handball with the group.